Welcome back to the final day of this week's study as we are looking into the type 1 Enneagram personality, which is the perfectionist or the reformer. If you want a word that has a little less baggage, go along with it. All of this brought to you courtesy of Christ's Table. If you'd like to find out more about Christ's Table, visit www.christtable.today. Would encourage you while you're there to sign up for the email list. And would you consider giving to us as well if you find these Bible studies helpful? We need you. Every donation, no matter how large, no matter how small, is helpful to us and needful. And we appreciate it. And we also thank you, not just with our words, but also by giving back to you every couple of months with tangible resources in order to help you in your spiritual journey. One of the things that we are giving is this Bible study to those who are givers to us. But even if you're not a financial supporter, you can still participate. You can visit go.christtable.today/BU. There you're going to find a PDF that lists all of the readings in the Bible, all of the characters, the whole map, the whole layout for this study. You'll find that there. You're also going to find a free Enneagram personality test that you can see which of these 9 types best fit you. And you'll also find a link to the book that is the foundation for this study. You can purchase it on Amazon, The Road Back to You by Ian Crone. Now, today we are going to take a look into a story that is familiar to many of us, the Prodigal Son. Let's dig in. Whenever we come to the story of the Prodigal Son, we see many different characters. We see the father, we see the prodigal, we see the elder son, and each of them seem to have a bit of a different personality. Many of us, though, have not taken quite a strong or intentional look at the elder son. And so today we're going to do that through the lens of the Enneagram personality. And what we find is that essentially the elder son seems to best match a type 1 personality. And in the readings today in Luke chapter 15, you're going to find that. I'm not going to read through the entirety of our Bible reading today. I hope that you will do that on your own. But I am going to focus on a few of the verses that are a part of our study today as we look at this type 9 personality. Now, if you're just type 1 personality, now if you're just joining us this week in this, then you may not know anything about the Enneagram or what this type 1 personality is. So let me give you just a little bit of a hint as to what is perhaps some of the outer boundaries for understanding this personality type, the perfectionist. Their basic goal or desire is to be good, to be right, and to make the world a better place. And so that's kind of the driver thing is, if I know what is right and what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, what is in bounds and what is out of bounds, then I can be a better person and I can help inform others of those things and make them better, which will make the world a better place. But there is this worry inside all of us, and in a perfectionist personality type, that worry is this, that fear is being wrong, being completely off the mark. And so a huge amount of intentionality is put into making sure that they're right. Now, if they find out that they have been wrong or are wrong about something, then it begins to kind of crumble away at their self-esteem, their self-image. They begin to see themselves as defective. And so that's a huge fear. And this striving to always be right, to make sure that every situation, organization that they're in is always right and things are done rightly and done perfectly, can drive a lot of anger when things don't go the way that they want. And whenever you're working with people, things never go exactly how you want them to do. People are individuals. So you may be asking, well, I have some perfectionistic tendencies, but am I really this personality type at my core? You can take that test over at go.christtable.today/BU, which may help. But another way to help may be just to know that these are some words that typically identify a 1 personality. Somebody who is principled, self-controlled, organized, reliable, driven, a rule follower, someone who's objective, sometimes someone who's resentful, someone who's fair, and someone who is conscientious. And we're going to find several of these words, in fact, most of them descriptive of the elder son in the story of the prodigal son in Luke chapter 15. So when we jump into the story, the prodigal son has already gone off into the far country, spent all of his inheritance money from his dad. He's come home. His dad has welcomed him, which was a surprise to the prodigal. And in fact, the father has put on his best coat, put on a ring. He's killed a fatted calf in order to throw a party to welcome home the son who was once lost, but now has been found. But meanwhile, while all of this is going on, verse 25 tells us that the older son, the elder son, was in the fields working. This is very indicative of a type 1 personality, because the expectation was, as the oldest son, that he would be studious, that he would be committed, because the inheritance, the lion's share of it, would go to him. And so what the father had, the son would, at one point, it would be his. And so this is a rule follower doing exactly what a firstborn son should do in this situation. Out in the fields working, then back at home enjoying this party. In fact, he has no idea that any of this is going on. When he comes home out of the fields, he gets the surprise of his life. He hears music, he hears dancing, and when he asked one of the servants what is going on. It may well be that he grew up in a house that had lots of joy and partying, and then when the prodigal and the younger son left, that ended because the father had his own issues and his own concerns and his own stress and worries. Or it may well be that this was not a home that partied or celebrated at all. Either way, there is a surprise, and the surprise is that a home that recently has not been one that's filled with joy is now one that is filled with joy and merrymaking. And this is a surprise to him. We're going to find that he does not approve of this party for the prodigal. His younger brother is imperfect. Many of us have siblings or know stories of friends or relatives who have siblings who are imperfect, who are the black sheep, who don't always make the right decisions, who don't always live up to the expectations of parents, or maybe don't live up to the life and the focus on perfection that oftentimes firstborns tend to model. If you're somebody who expects perfection out of yourself, and if that boils over to an expectation of perfection in other people, it can be very difficult for you to allow people who are imperfect to be celebrated, to have parties thrown for them. Because oftentimes, if we are people who hold ourselves to a high standard, we believe that the world should hold other people to a high standard. I didn't get a party thrown for me. Nobody celebrated me whenever I did the right thing over and over again. And so this individual who is a lazy worker, is a degenerate child of my parents, is totally undeserving of this honor that they're being given, because other people, including me, have done far more to deserve this and haven't ever received this. How can I support this? How can I be party to this party? We have to allow other parties for imperfect people. We have to allow other people who aren't as right, who aren't as perfect as us, to be blessed. And that can be difficult in a world that is not fair, that is not just, that does not oftentimes give to us what we deserve, but oftentimes gives to others what is undeserved. And for a type 1 personality, sometimes they can forget that sometimes we, the perfect, receive things that are not deserved. And sometimes the people who are imperfect and who make mistakes do actually receive what they deserve for those mistakes. Discipline. But a perfectionist can oftentimes only see whenever somebody receives something that is undeserved, and it's good that they receive when they deserve something far different than that. You have to allow parties for imperfect people. This brother, though, the elder son, Not there yet. Your brother is back, he was told by the servant, and your father has killed the fattest calf. Meat is on the menu, and meat is never on the menu in the ancient world. It was something that they might only eat once or twice a year, and only at a very grand occasion, which means he now knows that the father approves and has approved, put his stamp of approval on the imperfect nature of his younger brother. We're celebrating because of his safe return, the servant says. Well, the older brother was angry, so angry that he would not go into the party. And perfectionists know what this is like. I'm not attending that thing. I'm not giving my blessing to that thing. I am not doing anything whatsoever to give the impression to anyone who may be watching that I support this. I will quit that board. I will leave that church. I will retire or stop working at that organization. I will not go to that family function for that person, because I will not in any way, shape, or form be tied to seeing as though I approve of whatever this is that is wrong. And the danger is you may be wrong, not just in how you act, but in your assessment of that person or the situation. That's hard for a type 1 to admit, that they may be able to be wrong. So the father comes out and begs the brother to come in. But he replies, all of these years I have slaved for you. Interesting word. I have slaved for you. Never once refused to do a single thing that you told me to do. I have earned a party. I have earned your love. That Yahoo, that son of yours, not a brother of mine, but that son of yours, doesn't deserve this, Dad. What he's really saying here is, you don't love me like you love him. Because, and we've talked about measuring earlier this week, because the older son is measuring love through the approval of imperfection. For a type 1 perfectionist, whenever somebody else gives approval, or in some sense or in some way condones imperfection, that creates a real issue where what is being communicated is, it was okay. So you must love them. You must think they're good, which means that my working, my goodness, my rightness, my righteousness is not worth as much love. Perfection, my elder son, will not earn you the love that you desire. If you are trying to feel loved, being right, being righteous, and being perfect is not the way to go about it. That's something that we can learn as well. We all, in moments, become perfectionistic. We all, in moments, become self-righteous or self-right, believing that it will earn from someone else, most dangerous, that it will earn from God, greater love and greater blessing than somebody else who is less perfect from us. So we categorize ourselves as being better than another person. The older son here categorized himself as being more worthy than his imperfect younger brother. And yet he's showing his own imperfections through this conversation, right? He's telling about himself. And in all that time, you never gave me even one young goat. You give him the fatted calf. And all that time where I've done all the right things, you never gave a young goat even for a feast with my friends. So now it's not just about him. It's about the way that he looks to other people. Yeah, when this son of yours, there it is. Whenever my brother, no, it doesn't say that. Whenever this son of yours comes back after squandering your money on prostitutes, which the text never says, squandered money on prostitutes. The older brother is either checking social media or made it up, made an assumption. Who knows? But whenever this son of yours, maybe he's telling on himself again, squandered your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fatted calf. And his father said to him, and we'll stop here, dear son, a term of relationship and affection. Dear, look, you've always stayed by me, and everything I have is yours. Everything I have is yours, son. You've always been there. Why are you trying to earn my love and my blessing? You already have it. Let the perfectionist understand that they already have all of the Father's blessings at their fingertips, at their disposal. You cannot earn something that you already have. But you may have something that you will not allow yourself to see as present if you are spending your life looking at other people in judgment. It's a lot easier to judge somebody else and their imperfection than it is to take a good, long, hard look at yours. In this story, honestly, the prodigal son, I think, is the elder son. He has told so much of him, he has told on himself so much in this story that truly I believe that he is likely the more imperfect son. Sure, the other son, the prodigal, who we call the prodigal, the younger son, is imperfect. But he became aware of it and fixed it. But the elder son's drive and desire to be perfect is allowing him, or even preventing him, from seeing his own imperfection, which is a one's greatest fear. That's why he's so angry. He's compensating for his greatest fear. And he's projecting that anger on the father and on the younger son rather than on himself. Let the perfectionist understand, let the elder son understand, he already has all of the blessings at his fingertips and disposal. Being a perfectionist is not a sin, but it can drive one to sin, to an unhealthy place. When we are stressed, think of the elder son. Whenever we are stressed, we become more resentful of others having fun. He's all upset over a party. And we could become more sensitive to criticism and more critical of ourselves and of others. This is a type 1 right here, this elder son. And some of us are type 1s too. And in an unhealthy place, when under stress, this can be who we move to in our personality type. But when secure, we can become more spontaneous, more self-accepting, more fun, more open to trying new things and begin to see the world for what is good and right about it. And this is what the Father is pushing the elder son to do, to recognize, to be his best self. The elder son, I believe, is not a foil in the story. I believe that the elder son really is an incredible and amazing individual. And boy, the ones that I know are some of my absolute favorite people. A one who is on your side and who is in a healthy place. Holy cow. They are the people you want in your corner. They will stop at nothing for rightness in the world, in churches, in organizations, on boards, in families, and in relationships. And that's a good thing because they're willing to step up and say, this isn't okay, and I'm not going to be party to it. You want those people. The elder son has a choice in this moment. What will he choose? And maybe the larger question, what will you choose? Well, until next time,